Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Boston in Massachusetts in America once again. You can probably guess where I'm going with this one. We're going to have a look at another one of the Trillium Brewing beers that my mum and dad brought back with me from their trip over to New England. So for this one we're going to return to Trillium like I said, and we're having a taste of the Dialed In, which is a double IPA, comes in at 8.5%, and this one is brewed with Pinot Gris juice. As far as I can figure, this is basically just grape juice. Pinot Gris, of course, is the wine that you'd normally associate with this particular variety of grape, but it should be a really interesting one. I've always loved the Nelson Sauvin hop, which is the one that gives you that lovely kind of white grapey gooseberry character, so I'm interested to see how adding a little bit of grape juice actually kind of contributes to the flavour of the beer, but it should be really nice. This one's a 99 overall in rate beer, so by Trillium standards that's one of their lower ones, but I'm sure we can forgive them for that. There is I think I had a rating of outstanding on Beer Advocate when I checked out as well, and it was well into the 4 stars on Untappd as well, so a very, very good beer. As I've told you before, this is one of the White Whale breweries in America, really highly associated with the New England style of IPA, as you'd expect with them being from New England, but people really want to get their beers, but they're only available in very small demand, so I'm very lucky that I'm able to review some of these for you, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on them. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, link to my other Trillium reviews I've done before. There will be more in the near future, of course. All the usual social media is there. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one for all the American beers I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Trillium Brewing then. So Trillium Brewing opened back in March 2013, and the company was founded by JC and Esther Tetro, and apparently Esther and JC had been homebrewing for quite a wee while, but they started to brew beers to celebrate their marriage, and they enjoyed it so much that they decided to go forward, turn professional, and start their own company. So the brewery were originally based in the Fort Point area in South Boston, but they only had a 10-barrel system at this place, but it has since been upgraded to produce 2,500 BBLs per year. But they also have a second facility at Canton, which opened in December 2015. This one has 16,000 square feet of floor space, and it also brews around 35,000 BBLs annually. In 2016, the brewery also started canning their beer, so you do start to get this kind of distinctive artwork from them. Of course, they've always had the white labels. There's a number of breweries in Europe actually copy this for their New England style IPA beers, but they really say that the biggest challenge for them over the next few years is to manage their growth, because their beers, as I say, have become highly popular. They're one of the White Whale breweries you're going to find in New England these days, along with the likes of Treehouse and Hill Farmstead and all of these kind of things. So quite often at the breweries, when they're bringing out new beers, you will actually find a big queue for them. They're really, really popular brewery, and in my experience so far, they do produce some pretty damn good beers. My mum and dad didn't have a problem getting the 6-pack for me. They just went in and said, oh, give us 6 of your different beers for our son who reviews beer, and hey presto, there we are. And of course they got flown back over to Scotland for me, which is great, and here we are filming it on the channel. Awesome. So yeah, that's all you need to know about the brewery just now. As I say, check out the links in the description below if you want to read more on the brewery or about the beer or anything like that, but let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So like I told you, this one's an 8.5% double IPA. It's hopped with Galaxy from Australia, El Dorado, which is another really lovely tropical hop, and it's also got Columbus in there as well. The malt base in this one is Pilsner, C15 flaked wheat, and dextrin, and I believe it's a house ale yeast strain as well. And like I mentioned earlier, there is an addition of some Pinot Gris juice in it as well, which is associated with the Pinot Grigio wine, if I'm remembering correctly, that particular variety of grape. So this one is an American pint. I think it's 440 millilitres. If I'm remembering correctly, that's probably why a lot of these breweries over here are starting to do 440 cans for their New England IPAs and stuff like that. They're copying the American measurements. I'd rather they just stuck to half litres, if I'm honest, like the Germans do. More beer, and it's just easier, to be quite frank. But yeah, nicely presented. This one there, you can see the artwork kind of goes in line with the name of the beer. Dialed In, just checking you're seeing that on the camera control. I do like these kind of pencil style artwork things that Trillium have on their beers, and there you can see the Trillium Brewing symbol of this one, that nice little flower there. But yeah, really nicely presented, this one. It just tells you a few of the warnings and things like that on the back. Government warnings, you get a 10 cent or a 5 cent deposit depending on what state you're in when you recycle the can. That's always good, save the planet. Aluminium's an awesome metal, but without further ado, let's get it out and get on with the tasting then. And I tell you something, you can smell some of the lovely tropical fruits off this one as you open up. You will get mangoes out of the El Dorado and things like that, of course. You get a bit of peachy character from it as well. But it looks really, really quite nice. You can smell a little bit of an almost grapey note just kind of mixing in with that too. But it's pretty much poured as you would expect. Now, we definitely say, you can see how far away I am from this beer on the video. There's definitely a little bit of that white grapey character coming out, which is really quite nice. But as you can see, well, there's one or two wee bits of sediment just coming out of this one as well, but as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice kind of hazy golden orange yellow, as you'd expect. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head. It's got a few bigger bubbles in it, and if we just kind of froth it around a little bit, you can smell even more of that tropical fruit coming out, but you can see the head is more frothy on this one. So yeah, it should be interesting. Like I said, I've reviewed the Pale Ale before, the Fort Point. I reviewed the Congress Street, which was the IPA, and I'm looking forward to trying one of the bigger brothers. And I do find these New England IPAs, 8.5% is when you start to get to the edge of what you can really do without adding some caramel and biscuit malt and things like that to them, just to give the malt base more complexity. But it should be really nice. Quite a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass in this one. That's probably just the actual glass itself, because I have cleaned it not that long ago. I cleaned it this morning before I went out. But yeah, really nice looking beer, and it just looks lovely. You can see if I put my fingers behind the glass, it is pretty opaque. But let's take a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Yeah. Lovely smelling beer, as I've come to expect from this brewery in the last couple of videos. But yeah, with this one, passion fruit straight up. Passion fruit's coming out from the galaxy. You can smell a wee bit of an almost kind of tangerine note in there as well. It's got a little bit of that orangey character. But there's mangoes. I think some juicy mangoes. That'll be the El Dorado coming out. The El Dorado normally gives you some mangoes and some kind of peachy notes as well. But you can definitely smell, when you take it in a bit more deeply, you can definitely smell a little bit of that kind of white, green sort of grapey character. It does remind me quite a lot of the Nelson Sauvignon. If I'm honest, if I was tasting this beer blind without knowing they've added that juice to it, by the aroma, I would think there's some Nelson Sauvignon in here, just from the kind of grapey notes. But you can smell that. I love grape juice, especially when you blend green and red grape juice, or green and purple grape juice. It just comes out really nice. Japan, of course, has some of my favourite grapes, just with that slightly more acidic flavour. But that's me going off on a tangent. But the fruity characters in this beer are really nice. There's a good bit floral aromaticity. You can almost smell a little bit of piney resin coming out of this one. But it's got quite a kind of peppery, spicy floral aromatic character. That's the Columbus once again. A little bit of lighter grassy note, of course. And the malt base on this one, you can just smell that it's a little bit more complex. You can pick up that this one's just a little bit more boozy. There is a wee bit of a biscuity presence in there, but you're getting the white, wheaty, bready character and a little bit of that almost kind of, not quite oaty character, but it's almost like that typical smoothness from the dextrose, dextrin kind of things that they use in these. It does remind me of oats quite a bit. Most of the breweries over in Europe actually do, I think, prefer to use oats or dextrose. They do substitute them quite a bit. I think Omnipollo, of course, had the Fata Morgana, which they did with an oat malt base, and it was lovely. And the notes that are coming off this one really remind me of that. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of your beer before you get stuck in. But we're going to have a go of this one now. So this one is the Dialed In from Trillium Brewing Company over in Canton, in Boston, Massachusetts, in England. This is the version with the Pinot Gris juice. From what I understand, they have added different grapes to it to see how you get on. But let's get stuck into this one then and see how we get on. Sláinte, skál. Yeah. Straight away, I'm going to tell you, that's a pretty damn good beer. And it's kind of strange because I just picked these beers. I thought, right, I'll work my way from Pale Ale to IPA to double IPA. And you know, being Scottish, of course, we do like things that are higher in alcohol content, hence why whiskey is 40%. But each of these beers, to me, they've just got better. And as I said to you, I love a bit of grape juice, so maybe it's that. Maybe I'm a little bit biased with this one. The IPA was really, really good. The Congress Street was a really damn good IPA, but for me, this one just hits the spot a little bit more, and it must just be that grape juice. As I told you, I love Nelson Sauvin, and I do love grape juice, and you can probably just the way everything's going in this one for me. It just really is hitting the spot for me. Some of you might think some of the other beers are better. That's what beer's all about. Everyone has different tastes, and everyone has different things. But for me, this one really just does hit the spot. And I guess the odd thing is, like I said, this was a 99 rather than 100, which is what most of the Trillium beers are, of course. Rated 100. This one's one of the lesser rated ones at 99, which is quite funny to say. That's really nice. It pretty much reflects what you would expect from the aroma, right enough, and I do like the fact, I do think these New England IPAs, when they've got a little bit more of a boozy character to them, when the malt base has a little bit more complexity, you do get more of them out. I've always said that about black IPAs as well. I think the black IPA is a style that really needs to be imperial for you to really appreciate what it's all about. The regular black IPAs, I can take them or leave them, but when you've got an imperial one with a good bit of kind of caramel malt and things like that in it, that's when you really start to see them shine through. For me, the IPA, just having a little bit more of a boozy character in a New England IPA, really just takes it to the next level for me. Maybe that's the Scottish genes, who knows, but this is really damn good. But yeah, I do like just how balanced this one is. You can feel it's a little bit more boozy, you can feel that right in the mouth anyway. But with this one, as you'd expect, there's a lot of tropical fruit to this. There's mangoes, there's peaches, there's a wee bit of a sort of pineapple-y character as you move into the aftertaste as well. The peaches are coming out quite nice on this one. That's the Eldorado, of course. The Eldorado, like I say, gives you the mangoes and a bit of that kind of sharper peachy note. I really do like it as a hop, and it's not that common that you come across it these days actually. I'd love to actually brew myself an Eldorado single hop IPA and really just see what you can get out of it, because it's a cracking hop, but I think it's one that's not produced as much as the likes of Citra, Mosaic, Amarillo and all these other things. It really is one that I think is underappreciated, and I do love it when you come across it, but it's really nice. So with this one, in the back corner of your palate, you can feel a little bit of earthiness there, which is from the Columbus. As you come further forward along the tongue, on the side of the tongue, you get that sort of almost peppery, floral aromatic spice. You can feel that lingering there. This one to me feels a little bit darker. It maybe even has a little bit of that dankness and almost pine resin character to it. That, of course, will simply be due to the amount of hops that they've used in this one, because obviously a double IPA has more hops than an IPA do. But yeah, as you go round the front curve of the tongue on this one, there's a little bit of a nice kind of lighter grassy note, and just behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get these nice fruits. You can really feel the passion fruit just kind of underpinning this one. There might be a little bit of grapefruit in there, but I definitely think it's the passion fruits that are coming out of this one with the Galaxy. There's a wee bit of that kind of mango-y flavour like I was talking about. There's some sharper peaches as well, and pardon me, as you progress further into the aftertaste, you get a little bit of that pineapple-y character, and there's almost just a little bit of tangerine. So the tangerine notes will be coming from the Galaxy. Like I've said before, the Galaxy is a really pretty damn awesome Australian hop. It's one of the staple hops that you'll get in any Australian IPA. And Australia, I think, is going to be very exciting for hops over the coming years, because they've got so much space, quite a small population, so a lot of the Australian hops, I'm sure, will start to be exported over the coming years. But this is really nice. So that's the hoppy side of it. The malt base in this one is pretty straight up. It is what you'd expect. In the middle of your palate, you feel this nice kind of white, wheaty, bready character there going across. There's almost a tiny little bit of a grainy note to this one. You can feel that it's a slightly boozier malt base. There's a bit of sweet biscuit, and you can feel there's almost just a wee bit of a kind of grainy character there, mixing in with the nice wheat notes. But right in the middle of your palate, you can feel there's a little bit of a sweet biscuit, and just maybe even a tiny, tiny little bit of a caramel note, which is coming from the boozy character that the beer has. Like I said, it's 8.5%. As you progress further into the aftertaste as well, you can get a little bit of that kind of white, green, grapey character coming out of it. Really, it comes out at the back end of the aftertaste, and it's nice. I mean, you could mistake that for being a little bit of Nelson Sauvin. The way you can tell, of course, when they've added fruit juice, fruit pulp and all these things to the beer, is that you get these flavours around the edge of the tongue rather than just behind the front curve of the palate. I've always found that you can feel that little bit of green grapey character just pushing its way out on the edges of your tongue, and it's really nice actually. The whole beer just goes together very, very well, and for me it just hits the spot. But like I told you, I love grape juice, especially Japanese grape juice, when they blend the purple grapes and the green ones together, and for me it really just hits the spot in that regard. So maybe take my review with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but I do hope I'm picking up on most of the elements that you're picking up on. But the Eldorado Galaxy hop blend in this one works really pretty damn well, so hopefully that's one that we start to see a little bit more in the future, and maybe I can experiment a little bit with that in my home brewing and things. But a really damn good beer in terms of flavour. All of it just goes together really, really well, and it's very easy drinking. For 8.5%, this beer is ridiculously easy to drink, and that's one of the problems, I guess, with these New England IPAs. They are really, really easy to drink, and you can smell that it keeps its aroma as well, which is brilliant. You can see there's a good wee bit of sediment in this one, probably just because it is that little bit more boozy. But yeah, I would say in terms of mouthfeel with this one then, it's mid-bodied. Carbonation's very smooth. You can feel that it's a little bit more boozy. It does have a little bit of alcohol warmth in here, which is good. Hoppy bitterness is right up there. You can feel it's a little bit juicier around the edge of the tongue though, because of the fruit juice that they've added to it, to the Pinot Gris juice that they've added to this beer. There's a good bit of that oily, fruity character. As you progress later into the aftertaste, it does become that little bit more juicy with the grape flavours coming out. And the tropical fruit complexity sitting there as well. Good bit of hoppy bitterness, like I said. The malt base is a little bit more boozy, and there is just a little bit of that kind of sweeter character in it as well. But overall, it's a pretty damn nice beer. If you get the chance to try it, I really hope you do. And I'd love to try this one on tap. And from what I understand, there are a few different versions of it where they've tried it with different grapes and things like that, with Chardonnay grapes and other stuff like this, but it goes together really well, and for me it just hits the spot. So yeah, a really, really interesting beer. I think this is the first double IPA I've come across where they've actually added grape juice to it rather than just using Nelson Sauvin. But from what I understand, Nelson Sauvin is quite a difficult hop to come across simply because of the demand for it. And New Zealand, of course, is a smaller country in terms of landmass. But maybe we'll start to see more of it in the coming years and things like that. But this grape juice, actually, that's quite an interesting idea if you're short of Nelson Sauvin hops. So something to keep an eye on, actually. Maybe something for me to think about when it comes to home brewing and stuff as well. But a cracking beer, and I do recommend that you have a go at this if you get the chance. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below if you've tried it for yourself. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. Do like, subscribe, share, check out my social media, and let me know what some of the other beers from the Boston area are that I should be checking out. Let me know your favourite beers from Trillium as well. Most importantly, support your local breweries. And yeah, it's been really cool to try this one, so I hope you've enjoyed my take on it. I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of this because I can feel the booze getting to me a little bit now. Not eating anything all day, but you know, that's what craft beer is all about. Until the next time, it's Slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Dialed In Pinot Gris juice version from Trillium Brewing Company in Boston, Massachusetts. Cheers.